started. After that, I couldn't answer the phone enough. The phone rang one right after the other. Everybody wanted plans. It seemed like everybody. And since then, I've sold quite a few plans for the legal. I wrote down before I left. Over 2,000 sets of plans have been sold for the legal, and there's over 100 of them flying right now. I guess in every country, I've sent plans to country I never even heard of before. You name the country, I've probably sent a set of plans there, maybe several sets. Australia's been good, New Zealand's been good, South Africa, France, Germany, even Russia, and I sent some to China and South Korea, you name it. Plans have been sent all over. There's quite a few in Australia, quite a few in Florida. There's hotspots. Ohio's a hotspot. Washington and Oregon are hotspots. They seem to really be building airplanes out there. You can drive down the road in Washington State and look in the garage and you'll see a project just about. And that's what I do when I drive around. I look at people's garages and wonder why in the hell there ain't no airplane being built in there. So anyway, we'll start. Is Johnson here? Prop man? He said he's going to be here. We've got a fellow that's down close to me that makes propellers. He does a beautiful job. I want to get after him for not showing up. I was going to get him to get up here and tell you about his propellers, but he's just missed that commercial. He is working with us to get the proper propellers for our legal and our double eagle, and he's very good. He does beautiful work. The legal XL out there on the red one out there on the line has one of his propellers on it. You can get a look at it. And he uses resorcinol glue, which is the old World War I type of glue that they glue things together with. And that's why these old World War I propellers are still haven't delaminated yet, because that resorcinol is something else. It can be boiled for 24 hours and it still won't come apart. So he uses resorcinol oil. It has to be really done accurately, and the clamp has to have a lot of clamping pressure, but he's set up to do it. Anyway, since he's not here and he's not going to take up some of my time, I will get back to the airplanes. The legal weighs 244 pounds. That gives you 10 pounds to play with, or be careless with, really. And so you want to really watch it, you only have 10 pounds. The XL is even closer than that. And the XL requires aluminum cylinders to get underneath this 254 pound limit. I'm sure you all know that the Ultralight empty weight is 254 pounds. And it's not 255, it's 254. But the FAA tells me they're not carrying any scales around to weigh these darn things. In fact, I had a J3 kitten. It was abandoned in my hangar for a long time, and I called the FAA, told them I wanted to sell it. I couldn't get a hold of the guy. And he said, well, it's not an airplane, it's a vehicle. So I called the Motor Vehicle Division, and they said, it's not a vehicle, it's not registered, and there's no license on it. So we don't know what it is. But anyway, it's a lot of fun, I can tell you that. It's a lot of fun to fly these airplanes. We got any builders in the crowd? Anybody building? Anybody want to come up and tell about their experience? A lot of fun. Come on up. Anybody? Okay. I get a lot of calls every day asking questions. It's 3 to 4 calls a day usually, and I answer questions for people. And that's something I kind of like to do. Don't bother me at all. The Legal Eagle has a steel fuselage, all wood wing, and aluminum tail. The tail on the Legal Eagle is top riveted together with gussets to hold it together. And all 6 pieces weigh about 4 pounds before they're covered. I've never weighed them covered, but they're not. The structure is very light, but it's also very rigid, and it's braced with wires going to the front of the fin, the rear of the fin, and down to the fuselage through the stabilizer. The friend of mine back here in the crowd, he went by the first set of plans, and it showed the wires going to the bar of the fin, and left the front of the fin a little weak. He was flying his first flight, and the fin was doing this while he was flying around. He didn't know, but the people on the ground were trying to get him to land, and he landed, and they told him, he said, well, I didn't feel it. So anyway, we changed the plans up to show brace wires going to the front of the fin, and that was one of the first few sets of plans that had that on there. And we changed that up. That's about one of the few revisions we've ever made with a big Eagle. The landing gear, the wheels are kind of optional. You can put on just about whatever you want to, but the big mountain bike wheels are really nice. And I don't use brakes on mine. A lot of people put brakes on it, but I routinely taxi my big Eagle up into the hangar, and the tail wheel catches in the tracks and stops me. So it's not a big deal to have brakes. In fact, I've had some of the builders take their brakes off. They didn't use them. It's just extra weight a lot of times. There is a real light bicycle brake you can get. It's really neat looking. And I think Scott Johnson has that set up on his legal Eagle that's out there now. Scott won a Silver Lindy a few years back with his legal Eagle. So if you want to look at that, if you get a chance, it's really nice. The wing is all wood. You build the wing and you build the spars on a table on a straight edge. Have a straight edge table. I've got a 12-foot table, and after I got the wing rig built, I laid a very straight piece of 1x4, 1x2 along the edge of the table, and that's what I built the spars against. The pressure is put on the spar to keep the glue, so the glue dries by blocks that are screwed on the other side and wedges between the blocks and the wing spar. And the little tapered wedges work real good. You can put a lot of pressure on the glue to hold it together. Then while you got it in the jig, you put plywood on that one side. And I use weights to hold it down. I'll use a couple of nails so it won't slide around, because the glue is real slippery. You got to watch it real close. They don't slip on you. But I index it with a few nails, and then I put a lot of weights on it. I put vices and bricks and everything on just until the glue dried to hold it down. That saved me from having to put a lot of nails in it or staple or something like that in the spar caps. The spar caps are 5/8 by 3/4 on the top and 5/8 square on the bottom for the legal Eagle. I had the legal Eagle flying, and a friend of mine called me, and he's the big guy. He weighs 300 pounds. He says, why don't you build something for me? He was a crop duster all his life. So I started building him a wide legal Eagle. It turned out to be a double Eagle. Excuse me. And the poor guy died before I finished it, so I turned it into a LSA experimental. And sold double Eagle plans. I sold over 500 plans, sets of plans for the double Eagle. And there's over 50 of those flying now around the world. I'm getting good reports. Yes, sir, side by side. And has a full Volkswagen engine, 1835. That's just put the 92mm guns on and leave the stroke alone. And if you want to talk a little bit about engines, that's a question. We talked about it yesterday, but we can go back to that. Anyway, the double Eagle is the same construction except for the tail. The tail of a double Eagle is all steel and welded together. And I bent up the ribs. And I got the ribs at a sheet metal shop, and the metal had dropped underneath their shear. And he just gave it to me. I took it home and cut it out, bent it up, made ribs for it for the double Eagle. And that's what I did for the newest one. I got that too. This sheet metal shop has been real generous with me. They said, take what you want, it's scrap anyway. So that's part of the scrounging area deal that I promote scrounging whenever I can. The cost of the airplane depends on your scrounging ability. If you're a good scrounger, you can build it pretty cheap. If you have to have a lot of stuff laying around, you can build it. You can use that. And I also use Ace Hardware Aircraft Supply a lot. They have a real nice little valve that costs $7, a little handle on it. And 1/4 inch valve that you can put on the bottom of your gas tank, and right up over your head here. And that's much cheaper than anything you can buy from the aircraft supply, and it works like a charm. And I've got the original one been on the legal for years and never has leaked yet. And I use for the fuel lines, I use automobile fuel line. It says for fuel on it, right on it, printed right on it. And for any hydraulic lines like the oil cooler, the transmission oil cooler lines for your car, they're available at